Alright, hey y'all. So today's video is going to be quite different in the fact that I did not know I was going to plan this video today. But I got this idea and I think that it'll be very helpful to me and to you all. Basically, it is time for me to admit I'm not in a reading slump. I do want to say that I'm not in a reading slump. When I am in a reading slump, like, I have absolutely no desire to read at all. Like, not even a little bit. I'll maybe try to pick up a book and just like be distracted by literally anything else. And that's just not the headspace I am in currently. I don't know how to phrase this because it feels weird and so unlike me to say I don't want to read, but I've come to the realization yesterday, like late yesterday, while talking with a friend, that I think one of the reasons that I'm not picking up books right now is that, like, I'm dealing with something mentally. Like, my mental health isn't right. Something's not balanced within me right now. And I don't know what that is. But yeah, I really just need to sit with myself and figure this out, because I'm realizing that along with not reading, I've let a lot of other things kind of like slip through my fingers. I don't know, I'm just feeling very weird internally. As you can see behind me, my room is kind of messy. So yeah, this video today is actually going to be you all following me as I try to get myself back into the reading mood and try to pick up my spirits, because I was gonna say next week, not even next week. Friday night is the beginning of Thrillathon, and I thought, like, okay, I'm not gonna push myself into reading. I know for a fact for Thrillathon I'm going to want to read a bunch of books. It's gonna be totally fine. But something I realized today, like, I don't want Thrillathon to be the first time I finish a book this month, because I feel like that's not gonna work. I want to test out reading a book. That sounds weird. I want to test out reading and finishing a book before Thrillathon gets here. That way I can be coming out of this headspace and this weird feeling before we start Thrillathon, before it becomes this big event thing. And so yeah, I will be taking you all with me today as I try to get myself out of this reading space. Again, I don't really feel like I'm in a slump, but for the purposes of what I'm trying to do, a lot of the activities I'm going to be doing today are things I do to get out of a slump. For that reason, I thought that it would be very interesting for you all to see some of my techniques for getting out of a reading slump. The goal for the next 24 hours is to read one book. Like, I just need to read one book. So it could be a graphic novel, it can be a manga, it can be a comic book, it can be poetry, it can be an audiobook, it can be a physical book, it can be an ebook, it can just literally, I just literally need to read something. Let's talk about options. My amazing friend Marvin gifted me 2 books that I am literally so excited to get to. So maybe this isn't the best choice for the mood that I'm in, because again, I'm highly invested in reading these books, but also I just feel like it's gonna be so good. So I might just pick up one of these. But yeah, Marvin has gifted me 2 books for my birthday. He said I can open the package early since they would fit within Thrillathon. So yeah, I'm just gonna show you guys now though, and they're 2 Junji Ito books. When I tell y'all, I screamed when I saw these books, but it's Ramina by Junji Ito and then Censor by Junji Ito. Did she wander in or was she drawn in? Exactly. So there's Censor and Ramina. I mean, I don't know how else that could be pronounced, so I'm gonna go with Ramina. I think I really want to read Censor. Am I gonna do that thing where I like flip through the pages? Probably. Yep, it's my brand. Oh my god. Wow. Okay, yeah, it has scary scenes too. It really does. It really, I kind of just scared myself. But also, just looking at that art style again, Junji Ito's art is just so stunning that I'm like, this might be the move for today. If not Censor, I thought about reading an essay from Black Joy. Once again, though, I am very invested in enjoying this book that I'm too scared to pick it up right now. The Taking of Jake Livingston is an option. But maybe a cute romance is what I need. Ooh. What about reading Monstrous? Ooh, this is pretty. So the first thing I do when I'm trying to get in the right headspace and the right mood for reading is I clean up around me. Just like I said, my mind is in a really weird space right now. So I have allowed myself to neglect cleaning in a way that I don't usually. Like, my room may get messy, but I always clean up and like reorganize things on Mondays. I didn't clean on Monday. I just felt tired. So I'm going to clean my room. Just finished, well, not just, but I finished cleaning my room. I had to wait a minute to update you all because my battery died on my phone. But I have completed cleaning my room, and honestly, I already feel better. I knew that was gonna work because literally I got to vacuum and everything, and I'm just like, oh, freedom to move around. While I was cleaning my room, I started listening to the audiobook for Know My Name, which is written by Chanel Miller, who is the victim in the Stanford rape case. Definitely didn't think that this would be my audiobook for getting me out of this like headspace, especially since it all is stemming from me having like mental health concerns going on right now. Before I started cleaning, I completely forgot that I hadn't yet eaten. And so while I had lunch, I watched Mel's September wrap up, and she was talking about how impactful the audiobook was for her. And I had already been interested in reading the book because she's been raving about it since she read it. And then I saw in my library that the book was actually available for me to borrow right away. So I borrowed it from my library on the Libby app, and I started listening to it. I'm about 10% of the way through right now, and this book is just very amazing and very well written. So far, like I said, I'm only 10% of the way through the book. I was interested in the book for 3 reasons. One, just having the title like Know My Name just seemed so resilient and powerful that I was like, yes, just whatever you want me to know, yes, ma'am. But then also the fact that I knew the book would be dealing with how the media covered things and also the court process in a way. And personally, I went to school for journalism and minored in criminal justice, and so I can go on and on about the U.S. court system and how it is not perfect. Okay, it's not perfect. That was literally the nicest thing I could say about it. And so yeah, I was just very interested in the book. It was available to me. I don't know, with my library, not a single book I want to read has been available to me. I have to wait like weeks to get it, so I just snatched up the book so quick, and it was a really great book for me to read as I was cleaning. I knew an audiobook would be the most helpful in this situation because I really want to listen to a podcast. And so I know I'm in this mood to like hear a story and hear someone else's voice speak to me and like deliver a story to me. And the fact that Chanel Miller actually is reads her own book for the audiobook, that much more impactful and that much more great. But then additionally, I really enjoy listening to audiobooks when I'm in a slumpy, non-reading mood, because it's kind of like ripping the band-aid off. I don't have to sit down and read the words on the page, right? I could be doing things like cleaning my room. I can be dealing with other things that are bringing me stress, and allowing my mind to clear, because it's not the one having to actively engage in the text, if that makes sense. Like, I am actively listening to the text, but that deals with a different aspect of your brain. Like, that's a different sensory being sent to your brain, and it's a lot easier to listen to a story when my mind is like not focused than it is for me to read text on a page, if that makes sense. Like, when I'm feeling in these moods and I'm having to read the text, like, my eyes are going to wander. I'm going to have to read the same paragraph or sentence over and over again, versus having that book or that story read to me by someone else kind of reminds me of like being in kindergarten or preschool and having story time with the teachers, which was always my favorite time of the day. It just reminds me of like the power of stories being told to you, because that is the way that stories were originally expressed, through word of mouth and through like speaking. And so I don't know, just the way I'm able to engage with the story when someone is telling it to me is quite different than it is when I'm reading it myself. And so I think that is why I often feel like very strongly of like, I want to read this book with my eyes versus like I want to read this book with my ears. Not that you all asked, but yeah, like I was saying, just audiobooks really help me to engage with the text while allowing my brain to like uncloud itself. And so my brain was able to rest in a sense while also still being engaged in the story. That being said, I'm feeling clearer. My mind is feeling a lot more clear now. I have a half an hour left of chapter 2. What I'm going to do is set up my materials to start working on my bullet journal, and continue to listen to the book while I do that. That is another thing that has kind of been annoying me, because I know I like need to do it, and I know that that's another thing that I know will help my brain to like calm down a bit, and yet I keep putting it off because I've just been like, okay, work, do what you gotta do, go to sleep. And so working on my reading journal is about me and what I want to see. And so yeah, I'm going to work on my reading journal, continue listening to Say My Name, and once I finished my reading journal, I'll try to pick up a physical read. I don't know what that book will be yet, but yeah, I'm already feeling better. I'm feeling as though reading is possible now. So we're on our way. But it's check-in time, right? Because I have finished cleaning, it's time to check in with myself. Like I said, I'm feeling better than I was before. I'm feeling clearer. My mind is feeling clearer, although I still have some clouds wandering. I'm feeling more optimistic about my reading experience, while also still being quite scared to actually pick up a physical book. And then just like mentally with myself, I am really appreciating this. I'm really appreciating sitting and thinking about what I want right now. And what I want is to continue on with this. worked, oh, I just put it over there. But I have just worked on my bullet journal. I did not finish it, but I hit a place where I really like my monthly spread. And I realized that certain spreads don't really make sense for the month of October. For example, my TBR, y'all know I only have 3 books on it. Like, that doesn't make sense to do the stack of books that I usually do for my TBRs. And so, like, taking out those, like, I want to take out my page counting one. I feel like that's going to be a very negative influence on my mental health at the end of the month, to see that I've read so much less than I normally do, considering it's what, the 6th, and this is the first time I picked up a book all month. So I know, like, I'm going to be reading less, and it's going to be a significant amount of pages that I will have read less. And just, like, for my mental health, I don't want to feel like I'm doing less, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to feel like I'm being less productive or something, which is weird. And I'm trying to sit with why, like, productivity is so important to me. But yeah, just basically page counts don't make sense for this month. Again, I don't know how much I'm going to read, so having a full page for quotes doesn't make sense right now. So there's just so many pages and so many spreads that just didn't make sense for my reading journal this month. And one spread that made absolute sense was Thrillathon, and yet I can't think of something that is worth a Thrillathon spread, and so I'm going to come back to that. But I thought that this was a very important part to keep into the video, because at the end of the day, when it comes to checking in on yourself, even when you're doing the activities that are supposed to make you joy, check in on yourself. And I got to the point where I was really feeling it, and I was really happy, and I was like, yes, I'm getting this spread done. I'm liking how this is ending up. I'm moving on to the next page, liking how this is ending up. This is actually very cute. And then I hit a wall, and I could have pushed myself further and been like, no, you have to finish the spread today because the readathon starts on Friday. It's Wednesday now. I'm probably not going to have time tomorrow. That's okay. I'm human, and it's not like, this isn't like some assignment. I'm not going to die if I don't finish the Thrillathon spread before Thrillathon starts. Like, the pressure I put myself under is just so large for no reason. Like, this is for creativity's sake. This is for fun, and yet I still find a way to put myself, like, pressure myself to do things. And it's like, why do I have to do something I don't want to do? No reason. No one is impacted if I do the spread or not. I'm not, like, at this point, the pressure I'm putting on myself to do these spreads are toxic to my mental health. And so, yeah, I checked in on myself and realized that I was not doing what was in my best interest. That being said, I did get to chapter 4 of Know My Name. I'm 24% of the way through the book. The audiobook, I love it. Honestly, as a writer, and, like, hearing her speak sounds so poetic, and she's truly, like, an artist with her words. And I don't know, like, and she mentioned how much, like, writing means to her, especially, like, having a mother who is a writer. And I can see the value that she places on words, and I am thoroughly enjoying this book, which is why I said I was going to stop on chapter 2, and I'm here on chapter 4. And I'm sitting here checking in on myself, asking myself, what do I want to do now? Do I want to continue with the book? Honestly, yes. But right now I am feeling a bit more overwhelmed than than I would want to feel. So, how much more? See, I'm in one of those weird spaces where it's like, I have 34 minutes left of this chapter. I have the audiobook at 1.5 speed right now, so it's less than that amount. That is math I cannot do in my head. I'm not even gonna try. That's, like, just enough time for me to feel comfortable in, like, sitting and finishing out the chapter for the day, while also being too much time for me to pick up anything to do. And so I don't know how I'm gonna finish this chapter, because right now, once I finish this chapter, or maybe even now, I just kind of feel like watching some YouTube videos. Again, I'm just feeling overwhelmed. And so I think hitting that block with my creativity was when it felt like too much, because I wanted to push past it, but then I also wanted to sit with it and figure out what this block is. And so now I'm over here like, what is going on? And so as I'm speaking, so I'm speaking this through, and I'm like, okay, so I think I'm going to take a minute and breathe, like actually breathe for a minute, maybe even more, but just sit and breathe. Try to sit with myself in my existence, the whole breathing is valuable. And once I do that, I will complete the chapter. Once I've completed the chapter, I'm going to watch some YouTube and wind down. While I am listening to the audiobook, though, I can't really do anything because I do want to be focused on the text. So I think I'm just going to play like a jigsaw game on my phone to like stay engaged and focus on the text while doing something mindless, you know? But yeah, just wanted to do that. So check in right now. I'm feeling very overwhelmed. Well, the very was kind of redundant, but I'm feeling overwhelmed right now. So I'm going to stop, breathe, and readjust. All right, y'all. It has officially happened. I am feeling inclined to read a particular book. I'm being drawn to read a particular book, which is great. The book that I feel drawn to at the moment is Censor by Junji Ito. Yeah, does this need an explanation? I just love everything this man creates. It says here on the back, did she wander in or was she drawn in? And then like the name is Censor, so like what sensory is drawing her to this place? Like I need to know. And so, and again, just like, oh my goodness. Just Junji Ito's drawing style is so amazing. And of course, like the writing draws you in because it's always so like action packed and like really draws you to the next word, right? And you're like, oh, I just want to consume this story. But then you look at his artistry and like his art style, and it's just beautiful. And so like as you're reading the story, it's like the beauty of the art along with this like horrifying action-packed story, and then as like the story goes on, the art becomes more horrific. It's just I love Junji Ito so much, and I know that I still have not read all of Tomi. I know that I'm still reading Tomi right now, but Tomi isn't calling to me. In fact, Tomi is telling me to stay away. I don't know. That book terrifies me now. Just like a little too many examples of me reading Tomi, or not even reading, me like flipping through the pages of Tomi, which you shouldn't do in the first place, and then seeing something terrifying. But yeah, here we are. I am feeling like reading Censor. I'm feeling like this is a terrible decision to read before bed, but I really want to read this book, and I just feel like everything is leading me to this book, which as I say it sounds terrifying because this book, literally on the back, it says, did she wander in or was she drawn in? Did I just wander towards the book in my options, or was I drawn to it? Am I about to be haunted? But anyways, point is, I'm feeling like picking up Censor, so I'm going to do that. I completed chapter 4 of Know My Name. Stunning. I mean, are we surprised? No, we know this. And so yeah, I'm going to pick up Censor and relax some. answer, and the attraction I was feeling towards this book was necessary. Like, this book was necessary in this moment. I love this book. 5 stars. 5 stars. I don't think Junji Ito can have less than 5 stars, because you see, I feel like so like animated about this, but you see, like, the stories are already so intriguing and so top notch, and the concepts that he develops and how he continues on with the story is just, I don't think I've ever seen it done. Additionally, adding on his artistic capabilities in the images he depicts, I can't imagine drawing this stuff. Like, there are just certain times, like, there's just so much detail in each panel, right? And then there'll be those, like, larger panels that have so much detail within it that adds on to the horror of that scene. It's just, wow. I will admit, like, I was kind of nervous with this story as I was reading it, because it touches on faith and religion, like, specifically discussing like Christianity. And so I was getting kind of like about the whole thing, because there was like this discussion of like deities, and yeah, basically just how like followers of this missionary saw him as God over like God, right? And so I was kind of confused for a second of like how this was being covered, because I was like, what are you trying to say? Like, what is the whole overall commentary of this book? I'm very confused. Is this a commentary on religion? Is this a, like, what's going on here, basically? And then you get to the end of the story, and it's just so beautiful and so kind, and like, honestly, just like the nicest little ending to the story. Like, we went through all this horror and all this like hardness. I was gonna say heartache. I don't think my heart was aching, but we went through a lot, and it was very horrific. It was very intense. It was quite honestly overwhelming. And then you get to the end of the book, and it's like, all of that was for a reason. There's always something else. So, you know, don't quit fighting, because that fight that you have within you, that fight that honestly makes you go crazy, like drives you mad and has you questioning yourself, has others questioning you and whether or not you're crazy or not, like, none of that matters. What matters is the journey you're on, the fight you're on, and the fight you're participating in, and the fact that you can win as long as you keep fighting for what you know and what you believe in. And it's just like, that was a story that wasn't what I thought I was about to read. I really, really, really love this book. But yeah, it's 10 p.m. now, so I'm gonna go to sleep. I just want to say thank you so much. If you're watching this, thank you so much for joining me on this journey as I try to get into a better mind space and try to uncloud my mind, checking in on myself. Where am I right now? I'm doing really good. Not only do I want to read more, which is great, I feel as though this day has just been important, because it's I feel as though I acknowledged that I was going through things in like previous days. I had acknowledged that I wasn't interested in doing the things that usually bring me joy. I had acknowledged that something was off and that I wasn't balanced within. I acknowledged all of that, but I don't think I went very far in my acknowledgement of like, I knew it was happening, and then I kind of went towards that avoidance route in the whole spiel of like, oh, I know that this thing is happening. Let me just avoid it. Like, let me just like ignore that it's happening. Maybe it'll go away. And it wasn't going away. So I'm so happy that I took this day to figure that out, because it was well needed. And I'm happy that I was able to like fit it in the middle of the week. Like I was able to do this on a work day with while still working, you know? Like I was still working and I still was able to find time within the workday and then even after the workday to just dedicate time to myself and to doing the things I care about and enjoy and really checking in on myself. Like you can check in on yourself on a weekday. You don't have to wait for the weekend to take care of yourself. You don't have to wait for the weekend for self-care. You can just simply love yourself and care for yourself every single day. And that is in no way, shape, or form saying that it's easy, but it's possible. And I feel like that's the first step, to just know that it's possible. It might be hard to love yourself and to care for yourself, but it's possible. And so that's the reminder that I really needed today, that it is actually possible to care for myself every day. I don't have to wait until the weekend. I don't have to wait until someone has given me a break. I can just love myself every day. I can just care for myself every day. And the care I put into myself is a demonstration, is a depiction, is a display of how much I love myself. And so, yeah.